All right, my friends, we're going to start the week off with a wonderful blog post I read this morning called Delighting in What You Do by a lady named Alma Boykin, who's a science fiction writer, as a matter of fact. There's lots of books on Amazon, Alma does. And I don't think I've read any of her books, but I am a fan of her writing through Cat Rotators Quarterly. And I just think this article is wonderful, especially as you consider your second career or maybe your side career. I hate to say side hustle because it doesn't sound, I'm not looking at a side. I'm looking at a changing from your crappy old job to something you enjoy. So let's read this. I thought this is wonderful. All right. Again, it's from Cat Rotators. I got that thing there. All right. Cat Rotators Quarterly. All right. There we go. For reasons unknown, I was thinking about Bob Ross and Julia Child and what they had in common. People love their program still and enjoy learning from them because both people had joy, real joy in what they did. Remember Bob Ross, that big afro who was a painter? And I don't even know if he's still alive. I don't know. But I remember Bob Ross. I never followed. My art skills are absolutely decrepit, but I've always thought Bob Ross seems like a happy guy. I mean, he's just this big afro, white guy with a big afro is just the funniest thing ever. And he didn't care. It was awesome. It is awesome. He doesn't care. I've read several accounts by people who are participated in events with Julia Child, and all of them say she was gracious and truly enthusiastic about food and enjoying life. She thanked people, she appreciated the effort they put into meals, and she delighted in enjoying what she ate. That really came through in her cooking program, which is probably why it remains popular. Dignity didn't bother her too much. Neither did dishes that would have looked good on the cover of Gourmet magazine or as Instagram posts today. Nope. She wanted the dish to taste good and to bring pleasure to those who ate it. If it came out a bit lopsided, so what? Bob Ross did not worry about perfectly capturing the inner essence of a scene or exact techniques or shading. He wanted people to enjoy painting and to work with what they had. He worked quickly, turned accidents into opportunities, and encouraged everyone to try. Did it make you happy? Was it rewarding? So what if it didn't look like what you had planned? That wasn't the point. He wanted his students to enjoy what they did and to keep with it. Like Julia Child, he loved what he did, loved sharing it, and that's why he did it till he died. Okay, I guess he did die. Both had interesting backgrounds. Ross dropped out of school to work when he was a teen, then served for 20 years in the Air Force. Julia Child worked for the OSS, and I think that's a predecessor of CIA, in World War II, doing interesting things with classified materials. This took her all over the world, including Sri Lanka, where she met her eventual husband. I strongly suspect that her experiences colored their insistence on living without worry. Strongly suspect that their experiences colored their insistence on living without worrying about perfection. According to Wikipedia, Ross said that his years of being the person who had to yell at everyone, being a master sergeant, made him decide he'd never raise his voice again once he left the service. Bob Ross grew up poor. Julia Child was from a wealthy family. The important thing was that they loved what they did and they shared it. They had no hesitation about sharing. Infectious enthusiasm describes both of them, at least when they're on screen, and neither worried about perfection. For all that the art experts and gourmands made fun of Child and Ross and still mutter about the masses trivializing and not appreciating truly fine art cuisine, Ross and Child probably reached more than 99% of people in their field. They taught their viewers and readers that there's nothing wrong with enjoying cooking and painting, and if your results are not a Da Vinci or cordon bleu quality at first, so what? Did you like it? Does it taste good? Do you enjoy it? Then you've succeeded. Self-described sophisticated people often say it's childish to get so enthusiastic and excited about hobbies and new pursuits. I think one problem with society is a lack of enthusiasm and excitement about hobbies and new pursuits. Man, hear, hear. We're retreating to the early 70s and 80s, in early 1700s and 1800s, when enthusiasm was a negative term and excessive emotion and zeal were grounds for grave concern and social disapproval. The Stoics. You got to be this. Was it primp and pauper? You can't smile, you can't laugh. How dare you raise your voice in joy or shed a tear? How dare you? We are supposed to be authentic and real and perfect, not delighted. There's less room for the happy, excited amateur today, or so it feels. I disagree with that. One of my aunts did oil painting and china painting. Her works are very nice amateur landscape and florals. She also sewed. She didn't care if she won awards. She enjoyed art for sewing. She enjoyed her art and sewing, liked being around people who liked art and sewing, and lived life in the full. I wonder if that's part of why the maker movement seems to be prospering. I don't know what the maker movement is. I guess the Etsy stuff. I love it. I mean, I don't partake in it just because it doesn't appeal to me, but it might to you. It's awesome. Knitting, creating those trinkets of jewelry. Go to YouTube. I'm telling you. There's a lot of support and encouragement and room for variety. People like teaching people who enjoy learning, and perfection is not an initial requirement, at least not from what I've seen and heard. All right, so that's Alma Boykin. Let's just read about Alma. Again, she has written a bunch of science fiction. I haven't read any of them, but you should. And if you're interested in writing your own book and putting it up on Amazon, you might want to follow her. She's got Indie Book Launcher. You need to definitely want to follow her blog roll here. She was born in the Midwest, moved to the Great Plains, and after a brief period living in places where trees outnumber people, she returned to the plains. She escaped college with a BE, worked for a living, then returned to advanced degree some years later. When not writing or rotating the cat, she teaches and does a few other odds and ends, includes cooking, reading, hiking, geology, astronomy, and music. Anyway, so I'm a huge fan of her. Cat Rotators Quarterly. What I just want to say, at least in financial planning, there's this, I don't know what to call it actually. I don't know if it's a fear. I don't know what it is. There's this need, it seems, to come across with all the answers and to be authentic as if you have all the answers, which is the exact opposite of being authentic. And there's a need for many people on YouTube and financial planners to have to get the perfect video. And as you can tell, I don't. I don't hardly ever edit anything. Literally, I'm not going to edit this, just put it out there unless something I guess I've edited, I don't know, maybe 2% of my videos because I love doing it. And I don't have the time to edit because the time I take to edit means there's time I'm not focused on other things, other topics I want to talk about because there's so much in this world of ours to talk about. I wish you would stop making the perfect be the enemy of the good. If that makes sense, it's good. If it's good enough where you're comfortable with it and you like what you said for 80%, just get it out there. I don't care if it's on YouTube as a freaking song. I don't care what it is. If it's good enough where you said, that was a pretty good video, I'm doing it, and publish it. And, you'll get, I'm telling you, you're going to get trolls. I get trolls all the time. You should have done it more. There's one guy forever comments on this, negative Nelly like crazy. Like, you should have done. I'm like, look, man, you don't have to watch. It's okay. It's okay. I love what I do on YouTube. I'll never be perfect. I'm not shooting for perfection because ain't no one perfect except the one, right? And so but shooting for perfection doesn't make sense. But I know people out there who are like, they're fearful because they don't want to say anything wrong. I said, look, man, it's you human beings. If you make a mistake, like I think I did make a mistake about the fire movement thing the other day. It totally came across not like what I wanted to say. And some were offended people. I didn't, that wasn't my anticipation. So I took that down. And I apologize for that. It's one of those, you just make mistakes, man. It's okay. And when you find you made a mistake, own up to it, move on. Nothing to do about it. My thing was I encourage people not to judge people on anecdotal evidence. And I did the exact same. I literally did that. And I wasn't happy with that. So I made a mistake, took it down and moved on. And, people are going to be offended and might never come. That's nothing you can do about it. I don't know. But at the end of the day, you just got to get out there and make your guys. If you're not going to get the grand slam home run if you're not getting up to the plate. And getting up to the plate is the first step. Now you got to take the swing. So now you're up to the plate. You got your YouTube channel. You got your book. You're ready to rock and roll. Okay, so you stepped up to the plate. Well, now you got to take a pitch and swing. And if you don't swing, you'll never get a home run, especially if the guy's throwing strikes. You'll strike out every time. And a lot of times you're going to swing and miss. In Major League Baseball, a good hitter hits 300, which means he misses 70% of the time. He does not get on base 70% of the time, or at least a base hit. I don't know what you factor in walks. But anyway, let's just say 300. If you have an on-base percentage of 300%, you're doing okay. That means 70% of the time you're not getting on base. That's not good. And so you just got to get up there and take the swings, and don't make it perfect. You just don't. And don't listen to trolls that you should. It's just, you got to do what you got to do. But the issue is you got to be delighted in what you do. If you're not delighted in what you do, then you're not going to do it on a regular basis, especially when you start getting negative Nellies. I love this. I don't care. It's literally that simple. I love this stuff. It fires me up all the time. I can't tell you. If I showed you my working files of all the articles I want to bring to your attention and talk about, you'd go insane. I love it. It's fun. It's exciting. The dopamine rush for me is great. And then to get, positive feedback, by and large, well more than negative feedback, I probably get, 80% positive for 20, probably I'm 20% negative. And that's, man, if that doesn't get you motivated, nothing will. But you got to love what you do, because if you don't love what you do, you'll be like the first no you hear that you suck or you're stupid or you're an idiot or you should not. The first one you hear, you're like, man, maybe he's right. I'm just telling you, man, this is what I learned from a long time ago from listening to Rush Limbaugh's show. He said, the people who call in are not representative of the audience, not at all. And so it was interesting. I said, really? Because I remember some of these people call in this way back during Ross Perot time. And back in '92, remember that campaign? I remember I just got out of the Army. I was sitting there listening to Rush Limbaugh while I was driving up to a UPS store to load boxes into trucks. And all these people call in for Ross Perot, and say, I'm never going to listen to you again, because Rush was not for Ross Perot. He wasn't for George Bush, but he was for Bush more than he was for Clinton. But anyway, and he said, I get it. I'm not changing. And they said, well, you're going to lose your audience. He goes, look, the people who call in are not representative of the population at large. Always remember that. Always remember that. The people who write on your blog about your book, about your YouTube video, about your knitting, they're not representative. On the good or the bad, by the way, on the good or bad. You'll know, you'll get a feeling of if you're making a difference or not, just because you'll see the activity. You'll see the amount of emails that come. You'll see the subscribers on YouTube. You'll see the commitment to what you're putting out there. If you're doing Etsy, if you're doing jewelry with, man-made seashells or something like that, you'll know. And if you love doing it, you'll come across, man, the passion. Be passionate. You don't have to be. This is where I do think about the Stoics, the German kind of mentality, and just go to work, put your head down, and leave. Versus the Irish mentality or the Mexican mentality. That's it's funny. They used to say the Catholics were the wild and crazy, the Protestants, the WASPs were the proper ones. And I actually think that was kind of gone the other way around to some degree. Maybe it's more the non-denominational, but the Irish and the Mexican, that kind of just excitement, passion. There's something to be said about that. That doesn't mean you just go crazy and don't have a time to think things through, but get passionate. And when you're passionate, it's just, man, you're going to succeed. I'm telling you. I hate to say follow your passion. It's so trite and cliche now, because your passion might be, picking up worms out of the backyard and put them into people's gardens. Yeah. I mean, I tell you, if that's it, I guarantee there's an audience for that too, without question. I just bought some worms to put them in one of my raised beds. I don't know. But if you're passionate about it, let the world know. Don't hide it. Don't hide it under a bushel. All right. That's something. Don't hide it under a bushel. No, I'm going to let it shine. Whatever your passion is, man, let it shine. Be delighted in what you do. Let the naysayers naysay. Just get out there and do what you love. All right. We'll see you.